How you doing tonight? Welcome. Let me be the first to welcome you to the CURVY Revolution. Are you guys excited to be here tonight? Woo! I know I am. I flew in all the way from California, came to the cold NYC for KeKe and the CURVY Revolution, but I think I kind of brought some Cali weather with me, so you're welcome. Just kidding. It wasn't me, but you know, wishful thinking. So, CURVY Fashion Week. This is the launch week for CURVY Fashion Week. We are in New York City. There's tons of beautiful people here. I saw some beautiful designs outside. And I'm your host this evening. My name is Lizzie Miller. So for those of you that know me, what's up? I see some familiar faces in the audience. And for those of you that don't, I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself. I've been a curve model in the industry for over 10 years now, and over a decade, we'll say. And over a decade. I've been in the trenches of the fashion industry for a while, and I've definitely seen fashion change from, shapeless potato sacks, where I feel like designers were just not really sure how to dress curves. They just would kind of cut a piece of fabric and throw it on us and be like, make it work, you know, to now where we have tailored, beautiful clothing, covers of magazines, mainstream brands have finally decided to branch out and do something new. And we have a long way to go, but we've definitely come a long way too. So honored to be here tonight. Thank you, KeKe, for having me and the people at the CURVY Revolution. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm really excited for what we've got planned. We've got a little panel discussion, but we're gonna we're just gonna break it down one by one. We're gonna bring up each designer individually. So if you wanna transition right into that, I can introduce you guys to the Rise of the Fashion Revolution panel discussion. We're gonna bring out our first guest, Nick Kaplan. What's up, Nick?
What's up?
We've become good friends.
Yeah, we warmed up the mics together.
We're beatboxing and stuff, right? So for those of you that don't know Nick, Google it. Ha, just kidding. I'll give you his bio. I told you I would put that one in there. Hey, you know. All right, so Nick, if you don't know him, Nick Kaplan is the president and co-founder of Fashion to Figure, a leading plus-size women's fashion brand he co-founded with his brother in 2004. Fashion to Figure, under Nick's leadership, launched as a single store location and evolved to a $30 million multi-channel private equity-backed venture, which is ultimately sold to New York & Company, now Retail Wins, a publicly traded company. In addition to leading Fashion to Figure as a key growth driver for the company, Kaplan also serves on the executive leadership team, and he works closely with the company's CEO and board of directors. Over the lifespan of Fashion to Figure, Nick has strategically led several areas of the business, including design, merchandising, planning, supply chain, logistics, data analytics, store operations, and other customer experience and journey. Wow, you do all of it, man. Wow. Describe the day you first fell in love with fashion.
The day I first fell in love with fashion was probably the day I was born.
Oh.
So, fun fact about me is I was born with fashion in my blood. So my great-grandmother is Lane Bryant, and on my dad's side, so I come from a family of very powerful, amazing women. And so not only has fashion always been something for us, so has women's empowerment, and I think we're sure true to that today. But the other side of my family was also in the dress business, and when my grandfather died at 48 years old, on my father's side, this is not Lane Bryant, but both women, Lane Bryant and Sylvia Kaplan, were both women that started businesses as widowers, and in both cases proved to build tremendously successful businesses. So for me, it was really the day. I was born in something throughout my entire life has just continued to be validated by all I've seen around me. Grew up in New York and really seeing the fashion revolution that we're experiencing today.
All right, how did you get your start in the fashion industry? So I guess you said, you were born into it practically, right?
Yes. So I remember driving around as a kid with my dad and seeing the stores and really going to the office on weekends and playing. But it was in high school that I began working at Tommy Hilfiger. And to me, the retail business and fashion that goes with it is a love-hate thing. And I just, at a very young age, at 16, just fell in love with it. I worked my way through college. I worked in a hardware store. I delivered pizzas. I made t-shirts. And then when I got out, I went to work at Saks and had a couple of really great breaks and proof that it's sometimes better to be lucky than smart, and took full advantage of them and wound my way through, and always sort of was on the both retail and design merchandising product side. So really early, 15, I'm not going to say how old I am, but based on that bio, you guys can probably guess.
Google.
I've been around for a minute, so I'd say 15, 16 was really when I got into it.
That, it seemed like you were doing a lot. You said love-hate relationship. Describe that for me. Because I get that, but I want to hear your personal experience.
I think that what we do is a passion, and I think that it's so time-consuming, it's so all-encompassing, because we, especially today, as we sort of continue chatting, I'm sure we'll kind of get there, and being in Google is really an inspiration and as to what the world is. And so you have to love it, because the cash register ringing of days of old when we first started, or today watching a tool like, for example, Google Analytics, where you can see the real-time number of people on your site, is just so amazing. If that doesn't really work for you, and you're not really obsessed with the consumer, obsessed with what they want, obsessed with fashion, and the 24/7 nature that comes with it, it's really difficult to be successful. And so that is the love-hate of it. It's truly a passion.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the passion, because otherwise, that's why a lot of people, I think, move to New York City or big cities like LA and try to make it in these certain industries, and they end up stopping because I think the passion's not there. They don't really have the why. Like, they see the glitz and the glamour and what everyone, if I get there, then I'll be cool. And it's like you just, and not consciously, but like really subconsciously. So that makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
You got to have the passion, for sure. So how was your transition to e-commerce? You mentioned some Google Analytics in there. How was that?
So
it's changed the whole game.
So in 1998 is when I went to work at Blue Fly. It was early, and so it gave me a real test. That was a lot of people forget about the .com bubble, where stocks would go up and down. The values of companies on a daily basis was crazy, and I really wanted to see what it was about. So then when we started in 2004, there really was no e-commerce like it is today. And so over time, as the customer moved over from a brick and mortar environment to a digital environment, really for us, it's kind of seamless as an omni environment. We made that transition. And so over 2008 to 2010 is, I think, the foundation. And then now being at Retail Wins and being part of that platform, we're moving our platform actually over the summer, and we'll be able to provide a best-in-class experience. So it's not any one moment, which is, I don't think anyone that's not a direct-to-consumer like Allbirds or a company like Everlane that really truly came out of the womb as a e-com business only can say that there was a moment where we jumped. I don't know that we've really jumped, but each day it seems like we're jumping a little bit more with the growth of our business.
Yeah, it's something, it's so important now. You can't not be online now to have a successful, or what do you think about that, actually?
I think you really do for almost all businesses. I understand why, for example, a TJ Maxx probably doesn't need to be online because it's a treasure hunt, it's a very different model. And we no longer really consider ourselves a retail business. We're a brand, and I think brands are transcending the worlds of retail and media, which is what I found so interesting about this opportunity was, what is tomorrow? Because I can tell you what I know about tomorrow, which is I don't know what tomorrow holds. I know it doesn't hold what today is. And so, yes, I think for any consumer brand, which could be food, it could be apparel, it could be accessories, it could be travel, you have to be online because it is truly a way to, in a never-ending way, connect with your customer, which is what this is all about. I mean, that for us is everything, is our relationship with our customer. We don't care about the hourly or the daily transactions. Clearly, as a public company, we have to be profitable every quarter, but for us as an experiential retailer, it is just a 24/7 relationship with the consumer, and that can only be done online. And I guess if we had said to everyone, do you have a smartphone? I'm guessing almost everyone here raises their hand yes,
right,
and conducts their life that way, and we have to be realists and understanders of that and facilitate our relationship ultimately through that, which then ultimately is about some type of an e-commerce experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know personally for me, I can't remember the last time. I mean, I shop online. I honestly do. So I get why a lot of companies can be hurting if they're not making this transition. I can understand why a lot of new companies that are tech companies that started, like you said, in e-commerce are so successful. It makes sense. Did you encounter any challenges when you were transitioning to e-commerce?
Yeah, I think, look, every business encounters challenges. The ones that say they don't are the ones that are probably most challenged. I think for us, it was...
They're liars. They're lying. No, I'm just kidding.
I do think, I think there is sort of three sides to every story. And I think in our case, I think the most challenging things we dealt with were creating an amazing user experience and being able to afford the technology that did that while we were simultaneously growing. And so now, being part of a public company that does $1 billion in revenue and has a lot
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's amazing.
We don't do $1 billion in revenue yet.
Yeah.
But we are growing really, really quickly. And I think that what it affords us is the things that were most challenging, which is an amazing mobile experience, having the resources to create the content that we want. So I think capital is a challenge for a growth company because everything comes at an opportunity cost. You can't do everything. So how well can you prioritize and how well does that investment that you're making pay back? And so our biggest challenges were making decisions on what to invest in and really creating an amazing experience that mirrored what we wanted the brand to be in the earlier stages of being online because it wasn't always that.
I love it.
Good answer?
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. Did you practice that?
I didn't. My brother used to be the one that
just
did
winging
all the
it up
talking,
here.
and then he decided to leave, and I stayed, and now I get to do the talking. So
There you go. You're going to wear all pants, all parts of it.
I have a much
All the
bigger
fashion to
team
figure
now,
pants.
and I think that that's also kind of difficult as an entrepreneur. Is like how do you do everything? And I mean, we started with one store. We shared a car. We shared an apartment. We raised money. We worked 7 days a week for 6 months. Was the beginning, and eventually, I could move upstairs. And eventually, I got married and we had a second car and we opened more stores. But like, it's that is the passion of being an entrepreneur. And that is the passion of this business because it doesn't come easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay straight. It's not like you're developing an insurance portfolio or you're a banker. I mean, you are truly trading in emotion. And I remember women early on hugging me and thanking me and here are these like two white Jewish guys in the store and there's all these women and it was like people they would cry. And we had this idea because we saw a white space and I think that eventually we got where we are, but I think that I think it's something that's just it's a passion. And I think going back to the beginning, we're now in a big company that lets us take our passion and maintain that in our culture and our family. And sit here and talk to you guys about some of the cool stuff that we do and the pluses and the minuses and the things that we've learned from it and the vision we have for tomorrow. So I'm super excited to be here. I mean, this is amazing.
I'm so happy. Like we cry, we hug you and cry because do you know, I mean, let's speak for all, women and men, honestly, I'm sure you guys go through it too. Being in the dressing room and trying on clothes, every single thing doesn't fit, doesn't look right. And you can leave in tears. I've been in many dressing rooms in tears. So that's if I saw you, I would hug you too, to be honest.
That was the whole kind of thesis in the beginning, was that we wanted bigger fitting rooms. We wanted the stores to be cooler. We wanted to give people an experience. And remember, this is in 2004 when the mall was everything, right? You paid to be in the mall because people wanted to come to the mall. You didn't have to buy traffic. Today, one of the biggest challenges we face is how do we optimize and get people to come to our site and then come back, right? The two-time buyer is everything. And then it was not about that. Then it was about, people spending as much time as they could in the store and having the correlation between the customer that walked to the back and how the high probability would be if they got to the back and came back again that they would buy. Now it's about speed. Everything's about fast. Page load times. And so it is a very different experience today, but it's still an experience. I still want you to sort of not literally, but more figuratively hug me and hug the brand more importantly.
I love it.
Because the brand is me and us and beyond me today. But yes, we still believe we are giving women those experiences, and men too, and that it's critical that we continue to act with them in mind.
Yeah, very true. Thank you. I know, right? Give him a round of applause. So well said. I do. I love your heart. I love your passion. I love your intention. And I do love that you just told us about the struggle and the hustle in the beginning. I think that's a lot of people see successful businesses and they don't realize that everyone's got to start somewhere, So that's also, you're inspired. That's what I'm saying. You're inspiring a lot. Yeah, like this is great. So you kind of talked about it with analytics. What are the Google tools that you use the most and why?
So it's interesting. So we use Google and Adobe, which is sort of the old and the new FTF. And so with Google's amazing, and it's not just because I'm sitting here, but it is truly incredible. So there are some things in Google that we really find helpful. So I'm obsessed with Google Analytics, and I am that guy that takes out his phone. I did over here, I'm like, what was the conversion today? How many people are on the site? So that's incredible. I also think, though, to not be so obsessive, which I am, and focus on the numbers, because I still am, and thank God for my wife, who's also from California, so she's calm.
Woo woo, she must be cool. Just kidding.
And we use Google Analytics a lot to see where people are coming from, to see what they're buying, what they're adding to their cart and not buying. And then we use Google Trends, which is how relevant is the brand, how relevant is the brand relative to other people in our space. There are celebrities that we do things with. We're like, how insane is she? We were looking at a really major person for a while and looking at her versus some other major people, and thank God she was amazing and huge, and that was great. So we use Trends. We use Google Search. We use paid search, and we use organic. So we rank number 1, depending upon how the algorithm is working, for plus size clothing, plus size dresses. Those are super important. We use Google paid shopping. So we do Google Shopping. So it's important when you open your mobile device that we're at the top of the page because someone else could be there. So we use Google a lot, and it's not a word we talk about a lot. We don't say Google, but we do say, what were the sessions? Where were they coming from? So a lot of data comes from Google, and the marriage and the future of the business is data-driven. AI is something people talk about, and that is something that we're looking more and more at. But today, it's still about taking data, putting it into a spreadsheet, or doing something actionable with it, and creating an experience, again, going back to that's amazing. So we just had an item that we saw tons and tons of people looking at, and then all of a sudden we made a couple modifications, we sold tons of them, and now we're gonna buy 20x that item in an update for fall. So those are the types of things that Google allows us to do, which is make informed decisions.
Yeah, and you definitely need, for sure, in your business.
Yes.
That's so helpful.
Yes.
So how do you address the need for inclusive fashion sizing?
So I hate the word inclusive.
What would be a substitute word that you would
I
prefer
obsess
more?
about this because to be inclusive, it sort of intimates that there is an exclusive. And I think to go back to the beginning, and this drives me nuts, I'm sorry, and I'm going to baby.
No, please, elaborate.
Everybody's out there, we're inclusive, and it drives me crazy because there's a few things about it. Number 1, we've always been plus size. We'll only always be plus size. We're only interested in being plus size because guess what? The demography is insane. When we started the business, 66 or 65%, that's now 67.6% of women in America are size 12 and above. So that is the American woman.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So to be inclusive and say that the American woman isn't
True.
in your population is just crazy. So that drives me nuts. The second thing that drives me nuts is any brand that's just like, oh, we're going to add size 14, 16, 18, and 20, and we're just going to grade up. Do you guys have any idea? You probably don't, so I'll tell you quickly how much money we invest in fit. Marking and grading. We start from a center point of a 1, we grade down, we grade up and up. So if it was me, it would go this way and this way and this way. Now, if it was someone that was like half my size or a very different size, and we do this with denim because we have different fits, we invest a lot. So that's the other thing about it. It's like you cannot be plus size and say you're plus size unless you really can show us that you are marking and grading differently, which almost nobody does. So I think that inclusive is tough for me, and I think having done it as long as we have, and like in my case, it's, I'm not over 100 years old, but my family is, and I think we've done it forever.
You look great for your age.
There's this saying in our family, which is, if it doesn't fit, don't commit, and it's true. So I'd say that I can't tell you that we're inclusive. I can tell you, similarly to like my wife goes in a mall, there may be 30 stores for her. There's like 3 that she'll go into because those are the brands that she likes. To say that she's only going to go into one store is ridiculous. So we are a very trend-inspired, fashion-driven, no-nonsense brand. And if we're for you, amazing. If we're not for you, I get it. The people that shop at our store maybe don't shop at Catherine's, and the people that shop at Catherine's maybe don't shop at our store, and that's fine because the fashion, the style, it's all different. And you know what? We need both stores. And we need more of the size 12 to 26, 28 for the American woman. So I know I'm on my soapbox, but you know what?
I love everything you're saying, though. It all makes sense. Yeah.
Inclusive is a really, really bad word. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not a good word for me. So that's I say what I say.
All right, no more saying that word around him, okay, everybody? Just kidding. But it's so true because I would say the mark of a truly good designer is someone that, because like you said, you can't just take the same model for a dress that would fit a size 4 and then just be like, let's just make it bigger. No, you have to add extra paneling. There's different things and contours and things that just have to be different. So I love that you get that. That's so important. It's something I've noticed with some certain brands too. So I just love how you put that because that makes sense why certain brands who say they're inclusive, sorry that I use that word, but why they might not be so successful at it too.
Yeah, I think it's very much the moment, right? I'll be curious to see how it all kind of goes, but I think it's great for the industry. I think that there's a lot of amazing things happening out there that are really giving all women of all shapes and sizes options, and I'm a firm believer in that. But I think that not everybody can be treated the same, and people need to have options. So
true. Yeah, give him a hand.
You guys are amazing. Right?
He's like, I'm just going to carry you around with me.
My day.
Be your hype team over here. So where do you see the future of fashion and tech going?
Oh, man. I mean, we could do a whole segment on that. High
Definitely.
level, I think that, like I said, the integration of us into your life, and again, I think that going back to sort of the love-hate, there was just this thing in the New York Times about this technology that has facial recognition, and it downloaded like every picture on the internet. It's insane. And law enforcement's using it to basically identify criminals. And I thought about it and I listened to the podcast on it. I'm like, what's privacy about? I'm like, my privacy's done, and I'm actually okay with it. And I think that's what people ultimately have to decide for the future, which is like we want to know as much as we can about you because we want to give you what you want. And as we blend the worlds of media and content and in retail, we want to be more efficient for you. We recognize that people want to see the things that they like most at the top of the page. They are on their mobile device. That time is the most precious thing. Time with your family, time to travel, time to eat, time to enjoy experiences. And so we recognize that, and we don't want to be the center of your life. We just want to be a very important part of your life. And so technology and retail, to me, is about really giving people much faster and efficiently what they want. and giving them what they need. So I think that there'll be a lot of fit solutions out there. I'm sort of unconvinced we've really done anything meaningful yet, but I think we're on the precipice of doing something great there so people don't have to go through returns. I think sustainability is really important. It's something that we're beginning to play around with, and some of our items actually are sustainable, but we're not really publicizing that yet.
Very cool.
So we're sort of beginning to dabble there, and I think that really for people it's about giving them as much time back. So it's about giving them alternative payment methods or technology that's like Amazon Go that lets them go into a store if they want, or a pop-up location or an event and just walk away with whatever they want, and it just gets debited from their account. And most importantly, I think it's just about giving them better experiences, whether it's VR or AR or AI driven. It's just about using data to give people amazing experiences and being a part of their life in a very respectful and emotionally connected way.
I love it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, if you could go back in time, what advice would you have given yourself when you first started your business? Look, he's laughing. He's like, oh, the things I know now.
Oh man, again, so much. So
where do I start?
So I guess it's pretty simple. So there are two types of entrepreneurs. There are the people like Google, more tech type of entrepreneurs that have amazing ideas and throw all caution to the wind, and it's, home run or strikeout, and it's go big or go home. And I think for me, if I could go back, I think we had this amazing idea, and we were the other type of entrepreneur, which is more of an immigrant entrepreneur. And as long time generational gaps, but like as people from immigrants, and understanding kind of the schmata business, we sort of labored over and agonized over a lot of decisions and grew slowly. And as we grew slowly, I think the world kind of caught up, and I think we're still incredible and special, and I'm happy that the women of America have so many fantastic choices. But I'd say for entrepreneurs, you have to be less risk averse, and you have to really early on make tough choices and be more go big or go home. I think that for me, having gone through a lot, and if you Google me or us, you'll see sort of the story, and it's an amazing story, and it's I look only forward. I think yesterday is the most amazing experiences to learn from, and you affect tomorrow and do the best you can today. So I wouldn't change anything because I'm happy. I have an amazing existence. I work with the most terrific people in the world. I am building Fashion Figure to be a huge brand with great partners. So I wouldn't change anything, but I'd say my best advice to a beginning entrepreneur would be get great advisors, be well capitalized, and throw caution to the wind, because time is not your friend.
Ooh, so well said. Seriously, thank you so much for being here today and offering us your insight.
This was so fantastic.
You were great.
I think we're going to do a couple of questions.
Right here? Yeah. Feel free to stand up. You got a fantastic outfit. I would show that off.
Thank you.
I love the fringe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So my name is India. I'm a fashion designer, and I had a question. What advice do you give someone where it seems like your target audience or your audience period only responds to you when you wear the clothes versus when you have a brand ambassador that is supposed to model your clothing?
Well, I guess it would be sort of a tough question. You're the designer and you have an ambassador. When you wear the clothes, they sell out. When someone else wears them, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, as silly as it sounds, I don't know who your brand ambassador is, but they're not necessarily a good personification or ambassador of your brand if your customers not connect with them. And I think that it's all about storytelling. I think it's a lot about not just the initial or the secondary interactions. It's about this constant interaction. So there are so many touch points for us, whether it's the acquisition point, whether it's our own Instagram feed that someone has shared with someone else, or a paid medium, or we do a lot of collaborations, and you guys should be on the lookout for those because I think that's really a clear definer of our brand. So all those different people come through the funnel into our brand. Then how we continue to communicate with them and what we learn about them to go back to data is critical. So I think you have to go back and understand what is it about you versus someone else. that's really affecting your brand. And there's easy things you can do with like SurveyMonkey, ask people questions, or do panels with people you know, who you trust. But I think that there's got to be some kind of inherent issue with that person and how your customer sees that person, because their loyalty is seemingly today to you, but everybody is a muse, and yes, you can be your own muse, but you're selling a lifestyle, and there's a person out there who is buying your clothes, who is loving your designs, and thus loving your story. The question is, how do you tell that story differently? Because they're getting it with you, and they're not getting it with the other person. And they're you don't have to understand that, they're telling you that. So like, we have to be really good listeners, and so you have to make a couple tweaks and figure out, like testing kids all the time. It's like, guys, make a million mistakes, just don't make them twice. So you're learning, that's what it is, that's how we grow. So I'd say change your brand ambassador and talk to people about what it is that that person, or understand yourself what the difference is. It's not working.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Lexis. I'm an actor, and this is my husband Liz. We're both stepping into the business of fashion. And we wanted to know, starting out, how did you find funding? Because we're trying to figure that
Good
out.
question. We saved the best question for the. No, I'm just kidding. All the questions were great.
Today is very.
They were great.
Today is very
They were-
different than we started. So we essentially did what we would refer to as a friends and family round. So it's like a seed round. So in the investment world, there's a seed round, and then once you establish yourself, you'd be more formal and like do what's called a Series A round, and then you do a Series B, Series C. Then we did a private equity round. Today, very different. So today, anybody, which is one of the blessings and the curses, anybody can start a fashion brand. Anybody can say, I want to get Shopify, I want to post pictures of myself and a brand ambassador and sell and use social media and other totally free mediums. Shopify is not free, we don't use it, but it's a great product. So you can, for all intents and purposes, with very little outlay of capital, like your time is the most valuable thing, and the opportunity cost of that time, be a success. And so you gotta have a vision and like have a purpose. That's the first advice I give to you. It's like, what is the white space? Because if you're just like, I'm amazing and I can do whatever I can do, it's like, that's not good enough, and I'll just tell you as it is. It's a super difficult business. It's like, how are you gonna connect with someone and why? Why are they gonna buy from you and not Target? Why are they going to be loyal to you? Yeah. So there's tons of things we can do, and being at Retail Wins with a private label credit card program, Afterpay, loyalty program, a CRM database, an amazing website, like those will give us all these competitive advantages. For you, how do you raise money? You don't, to start with, like you can't, unless you have a wealthy family member, which unfortunately very few of us have, and for the record, my parents both passed away destitute, so we got nothing. We got a great education, so I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not at all, unfortunately, for my kids, and my wife. But I'm proud of that. And so no one's gonna give it to you. So like, get a great idea, ask 10 people if it's a good idea, and then they say yes, and ask 10 more. And then figure out how to make product, because that's your second biggest, you have to figure that out. So I know someone, a woman from my high school, played on a national championship volleyball team at Stanford, went to Harvard, MBA. She was a kid on scholarship. Her name is Francie Andre. She just started a brand for super tall women called The Sixes, all out of pocket, all social driven, Shopify, like floating around the garment center. We're helping her because we love her as we can, but like that's what it's about. That's the passion. Like, what are you gonna give up for your dream? Right?
So true. Let's give that a round of applause.
So, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for listening. Hopefully I had good energy. And
You have great energy. Thank you so much. Let's
hug it out.
Let's hug it out. Oh,
Thank you so much.
thank you too.
Bye guys. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Woo! Let's give another round for Nick Kaplan from Fashion to Figure.